and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see current affairs of 6th December 2025. So let's get started with our discussion. First of all, let us see important articles of the day. And actually today is Saturday. There are very less number of articles which are relevant from our examination point of view. And we are going to see articles which are important from only our examination guys. We are not going to waste any time. Okay, see this first article guys, you already know that we are going to have this 23rd India-Russia meet. So here in this today's paper, we are going to discuss about what are the highlights of this India-Russia 23rd meet guys. And what is the impact of this agreements and MOUs which had been signed in this meet. That is very important from your international relations. And you have to add this highlights of this article in your international relations notes from India-Russia relations guys. And next topic is Indigo cancels over 1,000 flights, get exemption from new night duty rules. It is one of the very important article of the day. In yesterday itself, Indigo cancelled 1,000 flights. And why these flights had been cancelled? Because recently DGCA came up with this new rules to control flights. Because of that, what happened? There are certain inefficiencies which were seen in this Indigo. Because of this, in one day itself, they cancelled 1,000 flights. So because of this, it caused huge disruption for the passengers. Because of that, now it got again exemption from that DGCA new rules till February, guys. So because of this, this article is in news, and this topic is important from GS paper 1 under geography, and even from GS paper 3 under economy also this article is very important. And next topic is cheaper loans likely as repo rate cut by 25 basis points. So this article is talking about RBI recently took a decision to reduce this repo rate, and this repo rate is there directly in your syllabus case. So that is a part of your monetary policy. And you may get prelims based question regarding this repo rate, and you have to know basics of this repo rate and what happens if RBI reduces this repo rate. And you have to see why RBI had been reduced this repo rate. And this topic is important from your economy point of view from GS paper 3 guys. And next topic is Punjab farmers block rail tracks for Harvards in protest. So you can see in this image, this Punjab people are laying on this railway track and they want to stop the movement of this railways, and they are doing this protest against electricity amendment bill of 2025. Here we have to see about what is that electricity amendment bill and what are the provisions government is coming up with, why these people are doing protest, what are the fears in these farmers. And this topic is important from your GS paper to on a polity and governance point of view, and you may get directly a means based question regarding this electricity amendment bill 2025. And next topic it is about market for life. As you all know that many acid survivors are living on this planet Earth, especially in India we have a huge number of these acid survivors. And if you have seen one Bollywood movie called as Chapak, which shows about Lakshmi case, and from that Lakshmi case onwards, now government is focusing on providing compensation for this acid survivors. But recently, one organization filed a petition in Supreme Court that yes, even the Supreme Court gave judgment in this Lakshmi versus Union of India case, we are not implementing that directions of Supreme Court at full level in the states. And they showed about what are the disadvantages which are mainly faced by this acid survivors case. And now Supreme Court gave again new directions in 2025 regarding protection of this acid survivors. So you have to know that. And these are the very important topic from your society point of view and from governance point of view, and you may get a mains based question from this area. So these all are the important topics. Apart from this, there is one more editorial in your today's newspaper. It is about Sanchar Sathi app. Already we discussed that number of times, so that I'm not going to take for that article for today's discussion. Is just revise those things which already discussed in our earlier class. Just revise or go through your notes case. And now let us see the first article. And one more thing here is at the end of this class, I'll be giving you the prelims practice question. Try to watch until end so that you will be getting lots of insights regarding how UPSC can ask question in your prelims and as well as mains. And we are going to practice question as well, guys. Okay, say this title, students. Read out this title. India-Russia friendship like the pole star, says Prime Minister. So what is this pole star? Have you ever seen this pole star? What is this pole star? I think in your English, in your school times, you will be having lots of lessons regarding this pole star, which will be directing our roots, everything, right? So here this title says that India-Russia friendship like a pole star. So this statement given by our Prime Minister. So here you have to see why our Prime Minister said that India-Russia friendship is the pole star, is like a pole star. And next you have to see about what this summit is about and what are the highlights of this meet. And you have to think about what is the impact of this agreements and MOUs which had been signed in this meet for the future, guys. Okay, and this topic is at most important from international relations. And one more thing you have to see is you have to open atlas and you have to see map of Russia and you have to see which are the countries sharing border with Russia also. You may get this kind of questions in your prelims. Every year in prelims from maps, you'll be getting minimum 3 and maximum around 6 to 7 questions solely from your map. So you have to be well versed with your atlas, guys. Okay, context says that 23rd India-Russia annual summit happened and for this meet Putin came to India. And this summit builds on 8 decades of enduring ties rooted in mutual respect and strategic partnership. Okay, so this summit is very important for maintaining of relations between India and Russia. And this India and Russia relationship is based on mutual respect and as well as partnership between these two countries. If you see the highlights, first one is the reaffirmation of strategic partnership on 25th anniversary. So we are focusing on especially increasing of mutual trust and we are focusing on increasing of resilience, cooperation, and we are focusing on increasing of our ties regarding defense, energy, nuclear, space, science, etc. So because of this, we can say that it is one of the special and privileged meet between India and Russia. And they came up with one agreement. That agreement says that we want to increase trade to $100 billion by 2030. Then what is the present trade number? It is around $65 billion. Now we want to increase that to $100 billion by 2030. And how can we increase that? We can do that beyond this oil and defense. Like we came up with negotiations regarding free trade agreement with Eurasian Economic Union, and we are going to promote trade in national currencies, that is rupee ruble currencies. And we are also going for increasing of digital payment interoperability between these two countries. That is the first thing. And this one is we are focusing on energy security and uninterrupted supplies. Here in this agreement, Russia pledged that we are going to have long-term supplies of oil, gas, coal and fertilizers to India. And we are going to have even collaboration in petrochemicals, nuclear energy and as well as underground coal gasification, and we are going for resolving of investor concerns, etc. And as you all know that in yesterday's class we discussed that we reduced 38% of oil imports from this Russia. So because of this it is going to impact India-Russia relations. So that is a thing which mainly talked in this meet. And this one is we are going to enhance our connectivity. So how we are connecting this Russia? We have projects like INSTC. What is that? International North-South Transport Corridor. And not only that, we are building one maritime route. What is that? We are connecting Chennai with Vladivostok through maritime route. So if this comes into operational, the trade will become very easy between India and Russia. And next one here is we are also going for increasing of efficiency in Arctic shipping capabilities as well. So these are the 3 important things that you have to remember regarding transport or reaching this Russia. And regarding this defense and security cooperation, we are going to have joint research, co-development and co-production under Make in India project. And not only that, we are going to have S-400 and as well as S-500 Trife missiles from this Russia. And we are especially focusing on counter-terrorism, counter-extremism, transnational crime. We want to fight against terror financing, everything is. And regarding this space and nuclear collaboration, we are going to enhance ties between India's ISRO and as well as Roscosmos ties in human space flight mission. Or as you all know that India is having one ambitious mission called as Gaganyaan mission. In that mission, we are going to send our Indian Air Force related people, 4 people to be sent to this space, to this low Earth orbit. So here those people who are going to become astronauts, so they are getting training from this Russia. That means already India, ISRO and as well as Russia's Roscosmos, which are already having good ties regarding this human space flight mission called as Gaganyaan. And we are focusing on satellite navigation, exploration of satellites, and we are going for joint development of nuclear power plants. In our yesterday's class, we discussed about the small modular nuclear reactors. Yes, if we want to generate renewable energy, one source we have, one alternative we have is we can use this nuclear power plants. For development of the small modular nuclear reactors, we are taking help of this Russia, guys. And this one is regarding this science and technology and innovation. We are focusing on increased R&D and as well as increased startup collaboration. And we are focusing on increasing of critical mineral collaboration, etc. And obviously, we are going to improve this people-to-people ties and as well as culture ties. If you want to increase people-to-people ties, what can we do? We can we can liberalize this visa restrictions and as well as we can give more e-tourist visas. And also, we have to promote joint film projects, culture festivals, media exchanges, and as well as celebrating of festivals in both countries. If you are doing that, obviously we can improve people-to-people ties. That is that one point. And next one here is we are also coordinating in United Nations, as well as BRICS, G20, and even Russia is supporting India's reforms in this United Nations Security Council, and Russia is vetoing any resolutions against India in this United Nations Security Council. Okay, so like that, Russia is helping India even to get this membership in this nuclear supply group, that is NSG group. And even we are focusing on improving of partnership in business for co-production, co-innovation, and as well as new investments avenues. And if you see about what are the agreements which had been signed, so first agreement is migration and labor mobility. So we are signed this agreement regarding temporary labor activity, which allows both the countries for this movement of the people. And next one is regarding healthcare and medical cooperation. Also, India signed one MOU, guys. So in this, they are focusing on collaboration in healthcare delivery and as well as medical education and scientific research, public health initiatives. And regarding food safety standards, also, India made agreement with FSSAI and Russia's Federal Service Surveillance Consumer Rights Protection. Because as you all know that food security norms are tightening. And last year, if you see India's masalas had been banned in different countries. So if we are having this kind of agreements, we will get markets for our India's food safety norms and as well as India's food products will be having huge market in other countries. And this one is we are also focusing on maritime training for polar shipping purpose. And even we signed MOU regarding fertilizer. As you all know that fertilizer is very, very important in this agriculture and India is not producing proper fertilizer in India. India is dependent on other countries for our imports. So here we signed MOU with this Russia regarding import and import of this fertilizer, guys, so that we can enhance our fertilizer security and as well as agriculture productivity, food security in our country. And next one here is multiple agreements which we signed in customs cooperation so that we can reduce the risk and we can enhance the digital customs system, etc. And this one is regarding academics, education also. We sign an agreement for student mobility and as well as joint research programs, etc. And we are also focusing on media and information cooperation and as well as commerce and economic integration. So these are the areas where we sign memorandum of understanding. So nothing but agreements between India and Russia, guys. So what is the impact? So this summit will improve obviously bilateral relationship between India and Russia because it is training now because of US tariffs on India. So we can go back and we can boost our bilateral relationship. And not only that, we can enhance people to people ties because we are now going to have this e-tourist visas, increasing of people to people contact, culture ties, everything. And in long term, this partnership will helpful for maintaining of stable alliances, groupings also. So this will be the overall impact of this meet. Okay, you have to add this points in your international relations notes, guys. And say this article, Indigo cancels over 1,000 flights, get exemption from new night duty rules. So here we have to see about why this happened. What are the new rules came up with this DGCA, Director General of Civil Aviation? Why this came up by this DGCA? Okay, so DGCA is Director General of Civil Aviation, which will be controlling aviation safety. So recently what happened in our country? Air India crash. Because of that Air India crash, more than 250 people they died, right? And that led to huge chaos, and that led to declining of relationship between India and UK also. And many countries have been alleged India that India is not following any safety rules in this transport system. So because of this, now DGCA came up with this new rules. So under that new rules, let me explain you what are those new rules first. Those new rules are nothing but flight duty time limitation. Okay, please make a note. New rules on flight duty time limitation norms. Okay, let us see what are those new flight duty time limitation norms. First one is weekly rest increases from 36 to 48 hours. As you all know that the people who drive these aeroplanes are called as pilots. So for pilots and as well as crew members, I think you might know about this air hostess. So the people who are working in these aeroplanes like crew members and as well as pilots, they need to have at least rest of 36 to 48 hours per week. And second important change they came up is night landings capped at 2 down from 6. That means whenever aeroplanes are operating during the night time, so now that had been reduced to 2 landings, not 6. Earlier they can land 6 aeroplanes, but now it reduced to this 2 aeroplanes. And next one is they changed the definition of night hours by extending 1 hour. Okay, so these are the 3 important changes came up by this DGCA under this flight duty time limitation norms. Now what happened here? They didn't implemented this in a single go. Actually DGCA implemented in 2 phases, from June to September and October to December, like that. So in the first phase, nothing happened, nothing that much kind of impact we didn't see. But in the second phase, they implemented this night duty changes. So whenever we impose this night duty changes, what happens in our entire India, most of these flights are run by this Indigo company. More than 60% of the flights are from this Indigo. So if you want to book this aeroplanes, normally we'll go for this Indigo and we will book that because the cost is comparatively less compared to that of other airlines. And what happens here is whenever this number of aeroplanes or more which is run by only Indigo, if we are having that kind of night duty restrictions, like we have to go for land only 2, earlier they gave permission for landing of 6 flights, but now only 2. Because of that, what is happening here? So now the number of flights which should be run by this Indigo will be reduced. So obviously what happened? So earlier already the people who had been pre-booked these tickets. Normally if you're going for tour, what we'll do, we'll book at least 2 months before or at least 1 month before or 3 months before. And even Sankranti is in month of January, but already you are asking about when will be the holidays. We have to book the train tickets and even no tickets, and even tickets are not available in the waiting list also. You're complaining that. In the same way, the people who had been already booked the tickets earlier, now what happening here? So now the limitations on the number of flights. Because of this kind of chaos happened. And even many a times, if you see your yesterday's and as well as day before yesterday's news, only one thing which is becoming highlight there is the websites are not working. And even if you're calling them also, they are not giving any response. Only they are getting mails instantly like the flight is cancelled. And even sometimes there is no proper information which is given to this passengers regarding how much time this flight is delayed or whether the flight is cancelled or not. And even what happened, the number of flights is reduced. So what happens, the demand for this airlines had been increased. So because of this, the skyrocketing of this prices of this airlines happened in this recent days. So because of this, finally even the website is not working properly because of increased traffic in that websites. So because of this, yesterday alone itself, Indigo cancelled around 1,000 flights. Okay, so what is happening here now? People, passengers, they are complaining about this airlines, and then now there is increased pressure on the government. So whenever there is increased pressure on the government, now it exempted this rules and regulations on this Indigo till February, guys. So because of this, it is in news now. So if you see context now, Indigo has faced widespread flight cancellations and delays in recent days, disrupting thousands of passengers across the country. The core reason is an acute crew shortage. So even the crew is now get more rest. So because of this, what happened? They have to recruit more. So can they recruit in this short time? No. Because of this, the crew shortage is happening because of new flight duty time limitation norms. And actually this Indigo is the largest air company where it is taking around 60% of our domestic traffic, which is not adequately prepared for the stricter duty or regulations of this DGCA now. Because of this, now it is facing chaos. Okay, and if you see on this December 3rd, only 19.7% of flights they were taken off. They were on time, but remaining around 81% of flights had been cancelled. And yesterday itself, entire Delhi has been in this Delhi. Almost all flights had been cancelled. Even in Hyderabad also, even in Chennai also, even in Bangalore also, in major airports, everywhere this flights cancel happened. Okay, why Indigo hit harder? So apart from this Indigo, we have different companies which will be running these airlines. But Indigo had been hit a lot because massive scale and high frequency network. Indigo operates the largest network and highest number of day flights in India. Around 2,500 to 3,000 flights they will be the routes they will be running in India per day. So because of this large scale operation, what happened? Because of this crew shortage, they are facing this kind of crisis. And next one is late night and early morning. Actually, this Indigo runs on a significant share of red eye. Especially, they will run this early morning flights and as well as late night flights. So in this FDTL, they set limitations on this late night flight. So because of this, you are facing this kind of problems. And extremely high crew and aircraft utilization. So Indigo is the one company which gives salary, and it will use that crew members for whatever the salary it is giving. So what is happening here is they will squeeze maximum utilization of these workers. Now because of this norms, they have to give certain rest to them. So because of this, now they need more crew to run their flights completely operational. So because of this, now Indigo is facing that kind of issues, but not other companies are not that much hit because of this DGCA guidelines, guys. Okay, yeah, see this article. Cheaper loans likely as repo rate cut by 25 basis points. What is the article talking about? Repo rate. What is repo rate, guys? Interest rate banks. So where exactly you will come across this repo rates? In which subject? In economy, you will come across this topic of repo rate. In which chapter? In banking? In banking chapter you will come across, in inflation chapter you will come across under monetary policy. Yes. So here you have to understand what is this repo rate. For example, here we have RBI. So this is RBI, and we have normal banks. These are normal banks and this is RBI. Whenever RBI is lending money to banks, will it lend money for free? No. On this, RBI will charge interest rate. So this interest rate should be paid by these banks to this RBI. So this interest rate is called as repo rate. And you'll come across one more concept called as reverse repo rate, triple R. What is triple R? Now these banks will lend money to this RBI, and on this money, RBI has to pay interest rate to these banks. That interest rate which is paid by RBI to banks in return is called as reverse repo rate. And you have to remember one thing, always reverse repo rate will be less than this repo rate. Okay, now what happening here is, the present article says that our RBI reduced this repo rate by how many points? 50 basis points. That means now repo rate is decreasing. That means what is the implication? Now whatever the interest rate will be paid by the banks to RBI will be reduced. So whenever interest rate reduced means what happens? Now banks can borrow more money, yes or no? Now banks can borrow more money from RBI. That means banks will be having money. So whenever banks will have money, what happen? Can they lend more loans? Now what happens? People can get more loans from these banks at a very low interest rate. What happens now? People will go to bank and they will apply for the loans and they will get money. So whenever people are getting money, then what they'll do? They'll go for increasing of investments in our country. And not only that, they will go for increased spending in market. And there will be increased demand for goods and services in market. Then what happens? Obviously that will leads to increasing of our GDP and as well as increasing of our economic activities, guys. So this will be the implication. So if you see just title, you have to understand what is the static thing and why RBI came up with that. And next you have to see what the implication in the future. And now you guys tell me why RBI decreased this repo rate, and what you studied in your economic classes, what are the conditions when this RBI can reduce this reverse repo rate? Huh? When RBI can reduce this reverse repo rate? Okay, whenever there is inflation. What is this inflation? Whenever there is increased prices of goods and services in the market, to control that prices, government will come up with fiscal policy, RBI will come up with monetary policy. In this monetary policy, here that is repo rate is decreased by this RBI. That is the first condition. And next one is, whenever there is money supply very low in the market, whenever the people are not having the money, then what happened at that time also? RBI will reduce this repo rate. So these are the two conditions we can see when this RBI will be reducing this repo rate. So now let us see this article clearly. RBI Monetary Policy 2025 reduces repo rate to 25 basis points, that is around 5.25 percentage, to boost credit flow. Why? To increase the money in the market, and to attract more investment and to boost economic growth while maintaining a neutral stance and ensuring inflation control. So they want to maintain inflation, and apart from maintaining inflation, now government wants to increase credit flow, that is nothing but money supply in the market, and we want to increase investment and we want to increase economic growth. Do we wrote all those things here? Economic activities, GDP, investment. Yes. So to improve all those things, our RBI came up with this decreasing of repo rate. And what is repo rate? Repo rate is the interest rate at which RBI lends short-term funds to commercial banks against government securities. That means if banks wants to take the loan from the RBI, they have to give certain securities and they can get money. On that money, now banks will be paying interest rate. That interest rate is called as repo rate. And it is a monetary policy tool used to control liquidity. Liquidity is nothing but money supply in the market and as well as inflation and credit flow in the economy. Okay, what is the significance here? If we are changing this repo rate directly, it will be affecting the borrowing cost and as well as lending cost, and overall economic activity will be changed. Okay, now what is the impact of reducing of this repo rate? First one here. Okay, I wrote reverse. Okay, so what is the impact here? The first one, if you see here, So actually I wrote about increasing of repo rate here, but because of this decreasing of repo rate, what happens now? Banks will be getting cheap loans. And next one is it will control inflation. Next one is it will increase credit growth. And next one is obviously it will attract this foreign investment. And even what happens now, there is increasing of spending of people in different investments. And next one is it will also helpful in this stability of our macroeconomic growth. And what happens? It leads to the weakening of currency actually. Why weakening of currency? Do you know about this weakening of currency? Do you know about this appreciation and depreciation? If $1 is equal to normally 70 rupees, for example, if $1 is equal to 60 rupees, and the second condition is $1 is equal to 90 rupees. So normally, if you see, if the normal value, exchange value of $1 is equal to 70 rupees, if we keep that constant, but suddenly what happened? $1 is equal to 60 rupees means nothing but there is increasing value of Indian rupee. So this condition is called as appreciation of Indian rupee. But now the present condition in India is $1 is equal to 90.1 rupee, guys. 90.1 rupee. For the first time, Indian rupee value had been got it into like a least performing currency in Asia. So if you see in entire Asia continent, India's rupee is performing worst. India's rupee value is decreasing drastically, and it had went to this 9.13 rupees. $1 is equal to 9.13 rupees. It is the history actually. Never ever India's rupee value had been not that much degenerated, but for the first time, India's rupee value is very low. Depreciating of Indian rupee is happening. So why this depreciation of Indian rupee is happening here is FDI outflow is happening and FPI outflow is happening. So this is the one important reason why this value of Indian rupee is decreasing. So whatever the foreign investments they did in India in the form of FPI and FDI, they are leaving India. So because of this, what happens? Whenever they are leaving India, they will go back with what are the money they invested in India. So they will invest in normally dollars. So because of this, whenever they are going outside, there will be increase in demand for this dollars. Whenever there is increase in the demand for this dollars, what happened? Rupee value will be obviously depreciate. That is the main reason now the value of Indian rupee is reducing because of loss of investor confidence in our Indian economy. Okay? Yeah. See the next article, guys. Punjab farmers block rail tracks for hours in protest. So here farmers and farm laborers, they are doing protest against electricity amendment bill 2025. So here you have to see about what is that electricity amendment bill is about and why these people are showing certain dissatisfaction. Exactly what are the fears of these farmers we have to see. And Punjab, Haryana and UP is very much famous for agriculture, right? And especially these are the regions they came up with this green revolution in our country, and we have good growth of agriculture in that areas. So if there are any changes in this in this electricity, obviously these farmers will be getting affected, yes or no? Because in this agriculture we need to have proper electricity so that we can draw water from the underground so that we can provide water to our agriculture or crops. If any changes in this electricity happens, obviously this agriculture people will be getting affected. So because of this now, farmers and as well as farm laborers, they are doing this protest. Okay, let us see about, first of all, what are the key proposals of this electricity amendment bill 2025. So first one is cost reflective tariffs. They said that state electricity regulatory commissions, they will determine the tariffs aligned with national tariff policy and can revise tariffs to avoid delays. So here now onwards, now these tariffs are nothing but the duties on this electricity will be levied by state electricity regulatory commissions. Every state have its own State Electricity Regulatory Commission. Now they are going to take this activity of imposing of tariffs. That is the first thing. And tariffs orders must be published before financial year to ensure timely cost recovery. That is the second point. And next one here is industrial and commercial consumers will eventually pay tariffs reflecting actual cost, while subsidies for households and agriculture will be funded transparently. So actually, do you know, in this electricity, household electricity bill will be different and commercial electricity bill will be different. Do you know this? Normal in households, in your house, for example, the unit price, 1 unit price of electricity will be around 2 to 3 rupees. But if you are using the same electricity for your commercial purpose, for shop purpose, you have to pay minimum 5 to 6 rupees for 1 unit. That means government will be providing subsidy for this household electricity consumption, but for commercial, they will be not providing any subsidy. Okay, so if you are running any shop, I think you might be knowing that. In your and for that also, you will be separately having the shop meter and household meter. Do you know? For household, the price will be less. For commercial purpose, the price will be more because government will be providing subsidy for this household people. So they said that for industrial and commercial consumers, they have to pay tariffs on actual cost, but they said that for agriculture and as well as for households, we are going to provide subsidy. And the second one here is phase out of cross subsidies. Current practices charges industrial users above the cost to subsidize free or cheap electricity for household farmers. It proposed that 5-year phase out of subsidies to replace hidden subsidies with direct physical support or DBT, enhancing financial viability and market transparency. So this point is like not accepted by these farmers. So what is the meaning of cross subsidies? So here we have industries or here we have commercial electricity users. For example, we have one industry or for example, we are having a shopping mall. They are using electricity. On this electricity, the cost will be high. But here for agriculture and as well as households, what are the electricity they are using? On this, government will provide subsidies. How government will provide subsidies? They will collect here more and they will divert that to this people so that they will maintain the amount on this electricity. So this kind of subsidies are called as cross subsidies. That means you are collecting on one side and they are using for another side to subsidize this agriculture and as well as household people. They said that we are going to stop this. That means now industries and this commercial units, they have to pay the amount which is charged on that. They will not pay any extra tariff. Government will not going to impose any extra tariff on that. But now even this agriculture people and households, in this also, they are like benefits of certain schemes, right? So these households and agriculture people, they will be coming under certain schemes through which government is already providing certain kind of subsidies under direct benefit transfer. So if you are getting that, there will be no subsidy for you guys. And actually now in Punjab, most of these people are doing agriculture and they are not paying tax because agriculture is exempted from tax, and you know, and they will be having very big companies of cars like Audi, Rolls Royals, and even they will be having this kind of Benz, everything. They will not pay tax and they will be getting this DBT, direct benefit transfer, and they will be getting subsidized price on this electricity which will be used by agriculture, which will be used for agriculture. And now if you remove these cost subsidies, it will be affecting their electricity price. So because of this, now they are doing protest. They are directly going and laying on this railway tracks. So that is normally done by this Punjab people, guys. Okay, next one here is private sector participation. Till now, electricity is under completely government, but now they want to increase this private sector participation as well. Why? Because if you want to go for technology upgradation and if you want to go for maintenance of accountability and transparency, we need to increase competition. When this competition can be seen in governance, whenever we are having or whenever we are helping this private people to enter into that, obviously we can improve competition. And one more problem here in this electricity sector is, I think you might know, if you go to villages, they will just take one wire and they just attach to that main wire so that stealing of electricity happens, theft of electricity. Because of this theft of electricity, discoms will have huge losses, guys. So if you want to control that, obviously we have to encourage this private sector, and government said that now onwards we are going to encourage this private sector. Okay, so that we are going to break discoms monopolies, because these discoms are government companies which will be controlling around 90% of electricity in our country, but 10% recently we are giving to this private people because of encouraging of solar panel, solar power things, guys. Okay, and what are the expected outcomes? Lowering of tariff, that means decreasing of now tariffs on this industrial and commercial purpose, and we can improve the service, and we can go for smarter grids, and even they said that we have to mandatorily use this renewable energy consumption obligations as well, so that we can reduce our carbon dioxide emissions as well. So now why these farmers are getting fear about it? First one is they used to get subsidized or low cost or free electricity. For what? For irrigation purpose and as well as pumping of water, and that is providing certain rural livelihood. Now it could be replaced by prepaid smart meters. Because if you are encouraging this private people, obviously private people will focus on profit, not for service. So because of this, now onwards, how we are using mobiles. So how will you use your mobile? So you have to recharge how much? 800 or 900 for Jio for 3 months? 899 for 3 months. What is about internet? How much internet you will get? Unlimited? Unlimited internet, and for per month it is around 5G. 5G for per month it is around 300. If you do the recharge, then only your mobiles will work, right? In the same way, if private people come, they will come up with the smart meters, and they have to be paid prepaid. So this is one cause of concern for these farmers. Because of that, what happens? Obviously, bills of electricity will be raised drastically for these farmers. And this one is, whenever we are going for privatization or centralization now, what happens? It will remove protections for small and marginal farmers. And again, the cost of electricity can rise. And next one here is unpredictable power tariff and meter based billing means, obviously, do you know, in olden days, like if you go back to 25 to 30 years back, we used to have different meters. In that meters, that will be moving round. So what the people used to do? People used to keep something to stop that moving of that meter. Do you know that? So here, if you're having this kind of smart grids, can we do anything? We cannot manipulate anything here. So because of this, again, there is a cause of concern of the people about this kind of new electricity draft bill 2025, guys. So because of that, they are doing this protest, because those people are getting more disadvantaged because they are farmers. Okay, see this next article, guys. If you have seen this Champak movie, there is no need of explaining this article at all, guys. Everything is given detailedly about that Lakshmi case. At least watch trailer of that movie. It is around 2 to 3 minutes only after this class. If you see that, you can see like what is that story is about. The story goes like this: woman called as Lakshmi, she is a victim of acid. Acid attack happens on her at age of 15 years. At age of just 15, acid attack happens, and later on she will be fighting for getting of justice. And she goes to normal district court, criminal court, and after that she goes to high court, and after that she goes to Supreme Court. Supreme Court finally gives a verdict in year 2006, I guess. In 2006, Supreme Court gave judgment regarding this Lakshmi versus Union of India case. And at that time, Supreme Court gave certain directions, but those directions are not properly implemented by the states. Now one more petition had been filed about what are the loopholes which we can see in this acid victims. And finally, now Supreme Court again gave fresh directives regarding this acid victims, acid victim survivors, guys. Okay, say this article: Supreme Court has sharply criticized the persistent delays in compensating acid attack survivors and widespread non-compliance of private hospitals for providing free emergency treatment. So if there is any acid, do you know this acid, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, like that, if you are using this strong acids, if something happens on your skin, can that pain is bearable? That acid will start eating your skin, muscle, everything, and even that will cause like organ failure also in severe conditions. So many movies will also showing about this acid attacks and what happens after once this acid attack happens. So that woman will be like shouting like anything, and she can't bear that pain, everything, and even third degree burns will happen on the skin, and even muscle cannot be regenerated after once that everything had been stopped. It will be like a horrible situation. So what happens here, once women suffer from this acid attack also, there are lots of deformities will be seen on their body, and even normal people will not accept them here. So no social stigma will be there on that woman, and even no one will be trying to provide the job opportunities or even education. So because of this, betrayal of the life will happen. So because of this, Supreme Court said that we have to provide compensation, and if there is any acid attack, whatever the hospital it may be, like government hospital or private hospital, they should not ask money, but they should go for giving of emergency treatment, free emergency treatment for sure. Okay, but now these are not falling on the ground level. That is this petition. So if you say about this case, Lakshmi versus Union of India 2006 case, Supreme Court gave certain guidelines. First one is minimum compensation of 3 lakhs. Minimum compensation with 1 lakh payable within 15 days of incident. Within 15 days of incident, the person who had been accused, they has to give 1 lakh rupees, and minimum they have to give around 3 lakh rupees as compensation. And next one is free and immediate medical care in all private hospitals. Even if there is any need of going for surgery or medicines, food and rehabilitation support should be given by all private hospitals. And next one is ban on unregulated over-the-counter sale of acids. So actually what happened is, normally we'll use acid for cleaning of our bathrooms, especially everyone knows that. Yes. So actually at that time you can see the people who will sell this acid, they used to come on bicycles with one box, and they used to sell like 10 rupees, 15 rupees, 20 rupees, like around in 2000 or 2002 or 2003, the price of this acid that I can remember was like around 15 rupees only. With 15 rupees, they used to sell one bottle of acids, and actually they will be used for cleaning of bathrooms. But if you take this high concentrated acid, then what happens? This kind of misuse is happening. So here, many a times the misuse of this acid is happening because they are available over the counter. Over the counter means nothing but if you go into a shop and if you ask them to give, they are giving that. So if easily available of this acid is happening, then what happens? This kind of misuse can happen. So Supreme Court gave directions that no one should sell this acid on the over the counter, so that we can minimize this availability of acid and we can minimize this attacks. And designation of district legal service authorities as compensation boards for timely disbursement. If there are any kind of cases happens like this regarding compensation, now authority is given to district legal service authority. So these are the guidelines given by Supreme Court in way back in 2006. And recently a fresh petition is filed in Supreme Court by Acid Survivor Sahas Foundation. One foundation filed a petition, and in this petition they said that many survivors received only partial compensation. Only partial compensation only received around 1 lakh rupees, but not full amount. And second problem they said is several private hospitals demand upfront payment in violation of court orders. So Supreme Court said that free treatment, surgeries, medicines, food, rehabilitation, but they are not doing the free treatment. So before starting the treatment itself, they are asking the full payment of treatment, full payment for the treatment. So it is violating directly the court orders. And this one is incomplete, inaccurate compliance reports were submitted by the states. They're not following proper compliance or rules and regulations of Supreme Court. And this one here is 8 states and 5 UTs have not yet filed even affidavits explaining the delays. Enduku delay avutundi? What is the reason behind the delays? They are not submitting this affidavits. And especially survivors in the states of Maharashtra, UP, they have no access to reconstructive procedures due to non-payment of funds. There is no payment, no rehabilitation, no reconstruction. And the bench expressed strong dissatisfaction with years of non-compliance despite of unambiguous directions. So Supreme Court still gave directions, but even though they are not following that, so because of that, the present bench showed dissatisfaction. So now let us see what are the fresh directions issued by Supreme Court. The first one is we have to strengthen financial accountability, especially chief secretaries of states. They have to personally ensure fund transfer for the states. In this fund transfer, the first funds has to go to State Legal Service Authority, and from that states they have to distribute to every district legal service authority. And from there, survivors has to get this money. And the court also questioned whether this 3 lakh compensation cap should be revised, noting rising medical cost and multiple surgery requirements. So is that 3 lakhs is enough? If you want to go for normal appendix or normal C-section, normal delivery also they are charging 60 to 70,000. So if there is anything happens wrong for your eye, if someone is throwing acid on your face, if something happening to your eye or your nose or your tongue, or if there are multiple burns on your face, then what happens? We have to go for multiple surgeries. We have to take the skin from your legs or thighs and we have to attach in the different places. So what happens here? The cost, and even sometimes we have to go for plastic surgery. So plastic surgery is not that much easy and affordable for everyone. So because of this, they said that even Supreme Court, if there is any change in this 3 lakh compensation or not, if it is there, we have to go for increasing of this cap based on the medical cost, because nowadays medical costs are increasing, surgery costs are increasing, right? And next one is free treatment in private hospital. The principal health secretaries of each states and UTs, they have to enforce compliance now. Private hospitals cannot refuse or delay free medical care for acid victims. Any refusal, that will amount to willful disobedience of Supreme Court order, and that will attract criminal proceedings now. We are going to enforce that very, very strictly. And next one is detailed data disclosure by NALSA. So NALSA has to disclose the data of that accident victim clearly, like name of survivor, compensation claim, and how much amount is paid, date of application, date of disbursement, and whatever if there is any pending amounts, why it is pending, everything. It is our responsibility of NASA to disclose that, guys. So these are the new directions of Supreme Court. So by this, we are going to expect, like, yes, compensation will happen on timely manner for this acid victim survivors. And there is one article, it is about Sanchar Sati app. Just see about what is Sanchar Sati and what are the provisions and why government came up with this and what are the concerns. Already we discussed that in our earlier class. See this practice question, guys. Which of the following outcomes is direct but not guaranteed? Effect of repo rate reduction by RBI. First one, decrease in interest rates on home, auto, personal loans linked to repo or external benchmarks. Lower fixed deposit interest rates offered by banks. Automatic reduction in inflation. Increased credit availability lending to boost in investments and consumption. So how many statements are right and which are right? Think. Online students, please give me your answer in the description, in the comment box, guys. Don't forget. And by this, I'm concluding. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And please do like this class and share this class. And don't forget to subscribe to Rathod Science Academy. You can follow us on our Telegram channel, where we are providing notes of this class in PDF format. And you can follow us on our Instagram page, where we are providing current affairs in shorts, prelims question with answer, and as well as mains question with model answer. Don't forget this, guys. Thank you so much.